She said, "My therapist says you're the source of my anxiety." I nodded and said, "I see." Then I packed my bags and left a note. "Problem solved. You're welcome." The panicked texts I got 24 hours later told a different story. I, 31 male, guess I should have seen this coming. Looking back, there were signs everywhere, but sometimes you're too close to see the pattern until someone draws you a map. Veronica and I had been together for 4 years, living together for 2. She started therapy about 8 months ago after a rough patch at her job. Her boss was legitimately terrible, and I encouraged her to talk to someone. Thought it would help her process the work stress and maybe develop some coping strategies. At first, therapy seemed great. She'd come home from sessions energized, talking about boundaries and self-care. I was genuinely happy for her. But around month 3, things shifted. Every session became about me somehow. "Dr. Whitlock says you exhibit controlling behavior because you asked about my spending. My therapist thinks it's concerning that you want to know where I'm going when I leave the house. We explored how your need for a clean kitchen is actually about power dynamics." I started feeling like I was living with a psychology textbook that had developed sentience and decided I was the case study. Every normal relationship thing became pathological. Asking if she wanted takeout for dinner? Controlling. Mentioning the dishes had been in the sink for 3 days? Power dynamics. Being concerned when she didn't come home until 4 a.m. without a text? Toxic masculinity. I tried talking to her about it, suggested couples therapy so I could understand better. She shot that down immediately. "Dr. Whitlock says that's what controlling partners always suggest, to manipulate the narrative." The real kicker was that I started walking on eggshells in my own home. I'd think 3 times before asking anything, stopped mentioning household stuff altogether, just quietly did all the cleaning myself. Started spending more time at my buddy Theo's place just to breathe. Then came Tuesday. I'd worked a long shift, I managed logistics for a medical supply company, came home to find Veronica on the couch with her therapy journal, and what I can only describe as a prepared speech face. "Marcus, I need to share something important from today's session." I sat down, genuinely curious what insight Dr. Whitlock had provided this week. "We've been doing deep work on my anxiety, and we've identified the source." She paused for drama. "It's you. Dr. Whitlock says you're the primary source of my anxiety, and I need to consider what that means for my healing journey." I sat there for maybe 30 seconds, just processing. 4 years. 4 years of supporting her through career changes, family drama, her mother's passive-aggressive nonsense. 4 years of being told I was doing everything wrong while footing 70% of our bills because her passion career in holistic wellness coaching barely covered her car payment. "I see," I said. She looked surprised. Think she expected protests, maybe begging. Instead, I stood up, went to our bedroom, and started packing. "What are you doing?" She followed me, therapy journal still clutched like a shield. "Solving your problem," I said, folding shirts into my duffel. "If I'm the source of your anxiety, the solution seems pretty straightforward." "That's not. Dr. Whitlock says we need to work through this together. You can't just leave." "Actually, I can, and I am." I grabbed my laptop, chargers, important documents from the filing cabinet. "I'll get the rest of my stuff later. The apartment's in your name anyway, so that's convenient." The panic started creeping into her voice. "Marcus, this is exactly the kind of dramatic reaction Dr. Whitlock warned me about. You're proving her point." I zipped up the bag. Maybe. Or maybe I'm just tired of being someone's therapeutic punching bag. Either way, your anxiety source is removing himself from the equation. I left a note on the kitchen counter. "Problem solved. You're welcome. I'll stop by Saturday afternoon for the rest of my things. Please be out." Drove straight to Theo's place. He didn't ask questions, just handed me a beer and pointed to the spare room. "That's a real friend." The text started exactly 19 hours later. Update 1. Holy hell, you guys were right about the extinction burst thing. Though I guess this is more like a reality burst. So the text started Wednesday evening. First few were angry. "This is so immature. Dr. Whitlock was right about you. You can't just abandon me like this. This is emotional manipulation." Then around 10 p.m. the tone shifted. "Hey, can we talk? I may have miscommunicated what my therapist said. Please come home so we can discuss this. Marcus?" This is really unfair to just leave without talking. Thursday morning, 6 a.m., my phone starts blowing up. 15 missed calls. The texts got more urgent. The electricity bill is due and I don't know the password. Where did you put the router? The internet is down. I can't find the insurance cards. Marcus, please. Here's the thing. I handled all our household admin because she found it overwhelming. Passwords, bills, insurance, everything. I tried to show her multiple times, even made a spreadsheet, but she'd wave it off. You're so much better at that stuff. Then came the kicker text around noon Thursday. How am I supposed to afford this place on my own? Rent is due next week. I almost responded to that one. Almost. But then I remembered 3 months ago when I suggested we get a cheaper place since I was carrying most of the financial load. Her response? Dr. Whitlock says financial anxiety is often about control issues. Maybe you should explore why you're threatened by our lifestyle. Our lifestyle. That I was paying for. The next series of texts was about her car. My check engine light is on. The registration sticker expired. Why didn't you renew it? I don't know where to get an oil change. Lady, you're 29 years old. Figure it out. Then the social media posts started. Nothing directly about me, just vague stuff about going through a challenging time, and when people show you who they are, believe them. And my personal favorite, surrounding myself with healing energy as I navigate this abandonment. Abandonment. I literally solved the problem she presented to me. Theo showed me her Instagram story where she's at some expensive smoothie place with her friend Janelle, caption reading, "Self-care isn't selfish." The same woman who was just texting me about not affording rent. But Friday was when it got really interesting. Her mom started calling, Patricia. I didn't answer, but she left voicemails. Apparently, Veronica called her crying about how I'd suddenly walked out with no warning and left her destitute. Patricia's voicemail. Marcus, I don't know what's gotten into you, but this is not how adults handle problems. Veronica is devastated. She's had to borrow money from me for groceries. Call her immediately. Groceries, right? Veronica had a fully stocked fridge when I left, plus the $400 of emergency cash she always kept in her jewelry box. But sure, she needed mommy's money for groceries 2 days later. Saturday came. I texted her that morning. I'll be there at 2 p.m. for my things. Please be out as agreed. Her response? I'll be here. We need to talk. I showed up with Theo in his truck. Veronica was there, full makeup, wearing the dress I'd told her looked nice on our anniversary. She'd lit candles. Candles. Marcus, please, let's just talk about this. I think there's been a huge misunderstanding. No misunderstanding, I said, starting to pack my books. You are clear. I'm the source of your anxiety. I'm removing myself. This is what you wanted. That's not what I meant, Dr. Whitlock says. I don't care what Dr. Whitlock says anymore, Ronnie. I'm done being the villain in your therapy narrative. She followed me around the apartment as I packed, alternating between tears and anger. You can't just leave me like this. What about the bills? What about my anxiety? Your anxiety is your responsibility. As for the bills, they're all in your name, your apartment, your bills. But you know I can't afford this place alone. But then maybe you should have thought about that before deciding I was the source of all your problems. The mask slipped then. The tears stopped like someone turned off a faucet. You're really going to be this petty? Over one comment? One comment? Ronnie, I've been your therapeutic punching bag for 5 months. Every week, you come home with a new dysfunction. Dr. Whitlock has diagnosed me with. I'm done. This is financial abuse, she screamed. You got me used to a certain lifestyle and now you're yanking it away. Theo snorted from where he was wrapping my gaming console. She whirled on him. This is none of your business. Just here to help move boxes, he said, but I caught his eye roll. As we were leaving with the last load, she grabbed my arm. Please, I'll tell Dr. Whitlock she was wrong. I'll switch therapists, whatever you want. What I want is to not be someone's anxiety source. Mission accomplished. We drove away with her standing in the doorway, no longer crying, just staring with this calculating look I'd never seen before. Or maybe I had and just ignored it. That was 6 hours ago. The texts have already started again, this time with a new angle. Update 2. Well, the extinction burst evolved into what I can only call a reality tornado. After Saturday's move-out, the text shifted to a weird mix of love bombing and threats. I've been thinking about all the good times we had. Remember our trip to the coast? We were so happy. I found your old college sweatshirt. It still smells like you. Then an hour later, my friend is a lawyer. What you're doing is illegal abandonment. I have rights. We were basically common law married. You'll be hearing from my attorney. Fun fact, we don't live in a common law state. Also, her friend who's a lawyer is a paralegal who does real estate closings. But the real entertainment started Monday when I got a call from my boss. Veronica had called my workplace. Let that sink in. She called my workplace. Apparently, she told our HR department that she was my domestic partner and that I was having a mental health crisis. She was concerned and thought they should know I'd abandoned our home and was acting erratically. Fortunately, my boss knows me well. I've worked there for 6 years, never had an issue. He called me directly. Hey Marcus, just got a weird call from HR. Your ex-girlfriend apparently thinks you're having a breakdown. I explained the situation. He actually laughed. So she told you that you were her problem, and you solved it? That's the most Marcus thing I've ever heard. Is this going to be an issue with HR? Nah, I'll handle it. But maybe document everything in case she escalates. She escalated. Tuesday, I get a notification that I've been tagged in a Facebook post. I don't use Facebook much, but there it was. Veronica had written this long, rambling post about emotional manipulation and financial abuse and how her partner of 4 years had suddenly abandoned her, leaving her unable to pay rent or buy food. She didn't use my name, but she tagged me and several mutual friends. The comments were interesting. Most people were offering generic support, but a few people who actually knew us were less sympathetic. My favorite was from Brad, a guy we'd had dinner with a few times. Didn't you tell us last month that your therapist said Marcus was toxic and you needed to set boundaries? She deleted his comment within an hour. Then came Wednesday. Oh, Wednesday. I get a text from an unknown number with a screenshot of a Venmo request from Veronica for $1,847. The message, "Hi, this is Janelle. Ronnie asked me to send this since you blocked her. This is her half of the rent and utilities you owe. She says you know this is fair. Her half of the apartment I don't live in? That's solely in her name? That she told me I was making her anxious by existing in?" I didn't respond. Thursday, another unknown number. This is Dr. Whitlock. I'm reaching out because Veronica has expressed concern about your recent behavior. While I can't discuss her treatment, I'd like to encourage you to seek support during this difficult time. Abandoning a partner suddenly can be a sign of deeper issues. I have some colleague referrals if you're interested. Her therapist contacted me. I screenshot everything and sent it to my buddy who actually is a lawyer. His response, "This is wildly unethical. Save everything. Do not respond." But Friday was the chef's kiss moment. Patricia, Veronica's mom, showed up at my workplace. Let me repeat that. Her mother came to my job. Security called me down to the lobby. There's Patricia, designer purse clutched to her chest, demanding to speak with me about the situation with her daughter. I went down mostly to prevent a scene. Marcus, this has gone far enough. Veronica is distraught. She can't eat, can't sleep. Patricia, she posted Instagram stories from 3 different restaurants this week. She's trying to heal. You've traumatized her. I left when she said I was the source of her anxiety. How is that traumatic? You know she didn't mean it like that. Dr. Whitlock explained it was about working through issues together. Then maybe Dr. Whitlock should have been clearer. And maybe you should ask yourself why a 29-year-old woman needs her mother to confront her ex at his job. She's desperate. She can't afford that apartment. She'll have to move back home, and there it was. The real issue. Patricia didn't want her daughter moving back home. That sounds like a Veronica problem, not a Marcus problem. How can you be so cold? You loved her. I did, but I loved the person I thought she was, not the person who spent months making me the villain in her story. Security started hovering closer. Patricia noticed. This isn't over, she hissed. My daughter deserves better. She absolutely does, I agreed. She deserves someone who makes her less anxious, which is no longer me. Win-win. She stormed out, and security asked if I needed to file a report. I declined, but asked them to note the incident. That evening, the flying monkeys came out in full force. Texts from numbers I didn't recognize, all variations of, "You're heartless, she's falling apart, real men don't abandon their women, I hope you're happy destroying her life." But here's the interesting part. I also got some other messages from people I didn't expect. Veronica's cousin reached out, "Hey, just wanted you to know I don't blame you. She's been like this since we were kids. Nothing is ever her fault." A former coworker of hers saw her post. "Same thing happened when she left our company. Everyone else was toxic, nothing to do with her showing up late every day." Her college roommate, girl, went through 3 therapists in school until she found one who told her what she wanted to hear. "You lasted longer than most." Saturday morning, I woke up to 47 texts from various numbers. I didn't read them all, but the ones I saw were increasingly unhinged. Apparently, Veronica had spent Friday night rallying support, getting drunk with her enabling friends, and they'd decided to launch a campaign. Then, plot twist. Theo's girlfriend works at the same wellness center where Veronica does her coaching. She overheard Veronica on the phone with someone. "No. He has to come back. I can't afford." "No, Mom, I'm not moving home, because it's embarrassing. I'll figure something out. Maybe if I tell him I'm pregnant." What? It worked for Janelle. I've never been so grateful for a vasectomy in my life. But the real kicker came Saturday evening. Another unknown number, but this time with a different kind of message. Final update. So the unknown number on Saturday evening? It was Dr. Whitlock's supervisor at the clinic. Turns out that Veronica's therapist contacting me directly was a huge ethical violation. When I didn't respond to her message, Dr. Whitlock apparently panicked and tried to cover her tracks by claiming she was concerned about a potential domestic violence situation. The supervisor was very professional but clearly pissed. "We're investigating a complaint about inappropriate contact. Can you confirm whether Dr. Whitlock reached out to you regarding a current or former patient?" I sent them the screenshot of her text. They thanked me and said they'd be in touch if they needed anything else. Monday, Veronica's texts took a panicked turn. "What did you do? Dr. Whitlock is in trouble because of you. She was just trying to help. You've ruined everything again." Ah, yes, me screenshotting an unethical text is definitely the problem here, not the therapist who sent it. Then came the email from Patricia. Subject line, "Financial arrangement proposal." She actually itemized what they felt I owed Veronica. 3 months rent to give her time to adjust, $5,700. Emotional distress compensation, $3,000. Therapy costs, since she'd need to find a new therapist, $2,000. Lifestyle adjustment support, $5,000. Grand total, $15,700. The email ended with, "We believe this is more than fair, considering the circumstances. Payment plan can be discussed." I forwarded it to my lawyer friend. His response, "LMAO. Please tell me you're going to frame this." Tuesday brought news from the wellness center. According to Theo's girlfriend, Veronica had been let go from her part-time coaching position. Apparently, calling your ex's workplace and having your mother show up there doesn't reflect well on a wellness professional. The Facebook post had also backfired spectacularly. More people who knew her started sharing their own stories in private messages to me. She did the same thing to Trevor in 2019. Said he was toxic, he left, she tried to destroy his life. I was her friend for years until I set a boundary about lending her money. Suddenly I was triggering her trauma. She owes me $800 from 2021, blocked me when I asked for it back. But the real karma came Thursday. Remember that apartment she couldn't afford? The one I was financially abusing her by not paying for? Well, Veronica had a brilliant solution. She posted on Facebook looking for a roommate. Seeking conscious, mindful individual to share beautiful space. Must respect healing journey and therapeutic process. No toxic energy. She found someone. Melody, a 23-year-old who just graduated and was excited about living with a wellness coach. Melody lasted exactly 5 days. She reached out to me through Instagram. Guess my name came up in the apartment. Her message, "Hey, I know this is weird, but did you used to date Veronica? I just need to know if I'm crazy or if she's really like this with everyone." We had coffee. Melody's stories were wild. Veronica had a house meeting on day 1 to discuss Melody's energy and how it was affecting her anxiety. Melody wasn't allowed to cook certain foods because the smells were triggering. She was asked to not use the living room between 6 to 8 p.m. because that was Veronica's integration time after therapy. Veronica tried to charge her extra for emotional labor when Melody asked where the recycling bin was. The kicker? Veronica had told the landlord that her partner would be handling rent like always. When it didn't appear, she tried to blame me. The landlord called me. I was still on the old lease as an emergency contact, confused about why I'd be paying rent for an apartment I didn't live in. I clarified the situation. He was not pleased with Veronica. Melody moved out and stayed with a friend. The landlord started eviction proceedings. Last I heard, through the grapevine, Veronica had to move back in with Patricia. Dr. Whitlock lost her license to practice. Veronica is trying to become a life coach. Since wellness coaching didn't work out, she's dating someone new. My condolences to that poor bastard. Patricia is still emailing me monthly asking for money. As for me, I'm doing great. Got a promotion at work. Turns out being less stressed makes you more productive. Who knew? Started actual therapy with an actual professional who's never once suggested that my existence is someone else's problem. Even started dating someone who thinks asking about their day is caring, not controlling. Theo summed it up best last week. Bro, she really told you that you were her problem, and you just agreed and left. And it broke her brain because you were supposed to fight for the relationship so she could keep being the victim. Yup. Sometimes the best response to someone telling you you're their problem is to simply remove yourself from the equation. Problem solved. Oh, and for everyone asking, yes, I kept the screenshots. Yes, I documented everything. No, I never responded to any of them after leaving. And yes, I'm grateful every day that when someone told me I was their source of anxiety, I took them at their word and left. Best decision I ever made. Final update. Veronica tried to contact me last week through LinkedIn of all places, said she's been doing deep work and realizes she projected her issues onto me. She'd like to meet to apologize properly and discuss potential reconciliation. I didn't respond, but I did notice she's still living with her mom according to her updated location. Guess some anxiety sources are better left in the past.